I want personalization.
I want to know what problem of mine you're going to solve, and are you going to make our commercial team more successful?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pitch Please on the Enablement Brew. I'm Carly Lehner.
And I'm Melvina Alsaik, and we're so excited you're joining us for today's episode. So, Carly, who's joining us?
Yes, we have a special guest from Showpad today. So Shamus Cook is here from Showpad. Shamus, welcome.
How are you doing? Very excited to be on the Enablement Brew. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So Shamus, but actually before we get started, what's everyone's drinking? So I have All You Need Is Love in a Cockapoo cup.
What's yours?
I have coffee. Mine says actually I can today. It's Friday, so actually I can do whatever I want on a Friday.
I like that.
I need that cup for Monday. Like Monday's the day where I'm like, I can't. And I need a cup that says I can, just like to have it for people to read it. Yeah, I'm on like my fifth cup of coffee today. And I think I made this one like 2 hours ago, so it is ice cold, but it's fine.
That's this. I have ice cold Earl Grey tea in here. But I'm still going to drink it.
I'm just too busy to go downstairs into the kitchen and actually make myself a fresh one. So it's like I'll have whatever I've made in the morning and sip it really slowly so it lasts me a longer time.
There's days I know I'm not going to be able to go back downstairs, so I'll pour like a 24-ounce cold brew, and I'll just like have that upstairs the whole time because I know it's going to get cold anyways. But by the time I drink it, I'm just like, I can't even like talk. I'm so wired.
Yeah, 24-ounce cold brew. That is intense. I usually get like, and I love caffeine, but if I have even a grande cold brew from Starbucks, I am wired. So wow, that's impressive.
Those are for special days.
Those are when you
Mondays.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to.
Yeah.
Well, Shamus, welcome again to the Enablement Brew. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at Showpad, and just tell us a little bit about Showpad as well.
Sure. Yeah. So I feel like I have a little bit of pressure. I work for an enablement company. I'm on the Enablement Brew, so I got to really perform. No. So I've been at Showpad for about a year and 3 months. I actually came to Showpad from a different industry. I was working in tech, and then I actually left corporate America for a bit and worked in the beer business and helped one of my actually start up 3 different breweries and a coffee company, actually.
Nice.
So yeah, it was fun. Did that. And then I wanted to get back into tech and, looked at all these different companies, looked at what they were solving, looked at what might be interesting and what these problems were, and found Showpad. And loved the people I met, loved the solution, loved what the challenge they were solving. And the last year and 3 months have been amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Fun. So wait, let's talk beer before we talk enablement. So what's your favorite kind of beer?
I think that also depends on the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I like lager beer, like light beer. I definitely like drinking craft beer, but today's the Detroit Tigers opening day, so I'll drink like Bud Light. But if I'm going to like a cool brewery, like Saisons are really good. Belgian beers are really good. So it depends kind of what I'm feeling.
Very nice.
I
met my husband over endless amounts of pints of beer. And today I don't drink any. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's starting to become beer season. I like to drink like a sour beer in the summer. Like that to me is really, really good. But
yeah,
I don't know. There's not a ton of those over here. I got to find like a craft beer place basically to get something like that. But well, that is a fun journey to Showpad, is starting with beer and being out of corporate America and kind of going back into tech. So why don't you tell us like what problems Showpad solves, and like what's your pitch for Showpad?
Yeah, absolutely. So Showpad basically solves this fundamental problem that was really brought to light during COVID and when everybody moved to this remote world of disjointed and misaligned go-to-market teams. So think of sales, customer success, marketing, enablement. Sales doesn't have the right content or know how to speak to the content they have. Marketing doesn't know what is and what isn't working because there's no analytics. And then enablement suffers because they're not sure what to enable on because everything is so scattered. There's no insights or analytics onto what anybody's doing. And what we discovered is who really suffers from this is the buyer. They have this really bad buying experience, which is now translating to lost deals for the organization. So we believe Showpad is the platform, and it's built to basically give the buyer that better modern buying experience throughout the evaluation process through things like correct training, correct messaging, the content delivery, and then the analytics behind it all to make those data-driven decisions on what is working when it comes to content messaging in those cycles, and then being able to repeat and scale that within the organization, with the end goal being increasing sales velocity, win rate, value of deals, closing deals faster, really bottom line.
I have to ask you, what does modern selling and modern buying mean to you?
Yeah, so some crazy stat, like 80% of buyers, when they reach out to a company to get a demo, have already done the majority of their research and know what they want. And I think 2/3 of buyers prefer like digital interactions rather than face-to-face. So it's really meeting the buyer where they're at, knowing they've done most of their research in the digital channel rather than face-to-face is kind of like the new way folks are buying software.
Mm. I think when I think of that also, the challenge is, what have they consumed in their own time before they engaged with a seller? And then what are they going to consume in terms of content and resources and collateral when they're actually, in the process? Because I know from, personal experience, when I'm purchasing something, I'll do loads of research online, right? And then if someone sends me the same thing that I already looked at before, I'm like, oh, I already saw that. Do you have anything else? So really understanding what it is that they have engaged with early on and maybe identifying where the opportunity lies is also key.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of goes into like the insights and analytics sides of Showpad and how we support that piece of the journey. So marketing, knowing, what does work at stage A, B, C, and D. What has pushed the deal forward at this stage? What do folks look at when they're first reaching out? And then having the analytics behind that, and then being able to transfer all of that to the sales team. So the sales team can now use that in those cycles to push them along. So it's truly like bridging those gaps that haven't been bridged in the past and have kind of created those jagged deal cycles, like you just mentioned, where you're pretty much bombarding the buyer with what you think they want. You don't really have any data to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that, yes, Showpad's an enablement company, but I imagine you have to sell and talk to other people within the go-to-market team to get like real buy-in for something like Showpad. Like, who else do you guys sell to typically?
Yeah, absolutely. I know on one of your guys' past episodes, you've mentioned like bringing enablement solution to your organization and what good looks like and what bad looks like. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that was pointed out is if you don't have buy-in from sales, marketing, enablement, and operations, the rollout's going to be terrible. If you do have buy-in with all four of those different pieces of the org, then rollout's going to be great because everybody's aligned. So when we are in these deal cycles, we want to make sure that we're aligned with marketing, we're aligned with sales, we're aligned with enablement and sales ops. So when we actually do move forward, everybody knows the value it brings and everybody is on board and is willing to scale it internally. So those are usually the four different buckets of personas that we try to sell into or talk to throughout these evaluations.
Awesome. I'm going to throw an objection at you. And this is probably an objection that you must have heard, a lot of times, right? If you look at the startup world and if you look at even scale ups, right? What's the number one tool that everyone uses to death? It's G Drive, right? Everyone relies on G Drive so heavily. So what do you do in situations where someone tells you, well, Shamus, this all sounds so wonderful, but we have such a well built out G Drive and everyone kind of knows where things is, they just kind of hit attach, they send out the attachment and off it goes. Why is this something that we need to look at? And I give this example in particular because I do realize how important content is and how important it is to get it right early on, because it's very difficult to untangle all those wires later down the line. But that could be the mindset, many VPs of sales will have, for example, right? Or co-founders. Well, G Drive, that's where it's all at. What do you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that every single day. Change management is a huge objection, and it depends on the persona I'm talking to. If I'm talking to marketing, I usually ask questions and dig deeper so I can get a true understanding of what G Drive looks like for them. I kind of ask them, are folks downloading things from G Drive? What happens when they do download them? Like, do you have insight into that? If folks want to customize something, do they download the PowerPoint and then change it? How do you control the branding when it comes to something like that? So kind of digging into the challenges that I've learned when it comes to marketing. If it's a sales VP, it's how do you know your folks are pitching the correct thing? How do you know they're not making up presentations with their own words that may not even be true or may not show the true value of your product? So really just kind of like turning the knobs of all those main challenges that we know G Drive can't support, and just challenging the way they think and the value that can be brought if they do switch over to something like Showpad.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. So for most of your deals, like you mentioned that buyers are much more informed and educated than they ever have been before. Like when you're talking to buyers for your first meeting, like what do they think they know about the enablement platform industry? And like what do you typically have to like re-educate them on?
So there's been this large goal of like consolidation when it comes to tech stacks in the industry. Like folks don't want tool fatigue. They don't want to have to give their sellers, their sales teams, 10 different softwares to use. So when they come into enablement, they really think of it from like a content management standpoint. They don't truly understand that there are full platforms like Showpad that support the full hire to retire journey. So the onboarding, the ongoing training, the product training, all the way up to which content should be served up, and then post-sale transition to like customer success teams. So I think they know what enablement is from a platform standpoint, but they don't truly know the extensiveness of what is involved in a full platform when it comes to like the onboarding, training, and content piece all weaved together. And that's really where the education comes in for us, because Showpad is that full, complete platform.
Yeah.
When you deal with enablement and you speak with enablement leaders, do you hope that enablement becomes a champion for you? Or do you hope that enablement maybe as a coach that, potentially brings other areas of the business, or potentially the main decision maker? Where would you place, enablement in particular, myself and Carly, on your, on that customer journey spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, enablement's kind of like the glue that holds go-to-market organizations together. When I think of enablement, I think of it truly the team that is, you're not only enabling the sales team, but you're really building like this nucleus for the go-to-market team. So a lot of times I look at this enablement as like my partner and my champion throughout the evaluation process, because I know the value I can bring them. I know the value that they bring their organization. And I think that comes through in the evaluation. So we sort of work together as a team to start expanding it outward. Because as of like 2 years ago, a lot of companies didn't have enablement, and platforms weren't really a budget item. Yeah. Now that they are, I think a big challenge is enablement has to like get other people's buy-in just on enablement in general. So if I can be an extension of their team, I think I look at that as like partners to expand within the org.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, like, are you speaking to a lot of clients or prospects that don't have enablement yet, and they're looking to you guys to help form an enablement function? Or have you seen that kind of shift in the last few years, to your point?
I think it's starting to shift to where enablement is now a big priority with a line item on the budget. I definitely still talk to customers that are like, hey, we don't have anything. We don't even have an enablement role. I work in sales operations, but we need to figure out how to help our sales team and how to better align marketing and sales. If that's the case, then we are truly trusted advisors on what it looks like to build out that function. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, we use 4 different tools, we need to consolidate, and we want to better streamline this entire process. I don't really like the word streamline, but streamline the entire process. That's more of a, okay, you know what enablement is. Now we're your trusted advisor on how to take it to the next level or take it to like version 2.
I think it's also an interesting point, because if someone doesn't yet have enablement, then you might have the VP of sales, head of sales, director of sales, someone in marketing, someone in ops, if they have ops, doing some sort of tidbits from enablement. But I think there's also that piece of educating what enablement is, because I think Carly and I spoke about it so many times. It means something different to every single person you speak to. You know, someone will look at it as, okay, enablement, that's training, right? And it, content, okay, but others might think content is actually marketing. So there's so many different variations. And I would also, think that if you are speaking to customers who are early in their journey and, maybe just building out this function, it's also educating them on what it is and isn't.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it fun is it is so new and it is touches so many pieces of the organization that you get to work with so many different personas that have so many different challenges and goals, and Showpad can bring value to so many of them that, multi-threading into these different companies is fun because you do get to solve more than just a sales enablement challenge. You get to solve marketing challenges. You get to solve operational challenges, even like C-suite challenges on like sales velocity is one of the biggest things that we've been focused on that we can help sales leaders with. So helping their win rate, their value of the deals, closing the deals faster. So being able to solve all those problems with one platform and truly bring an organization together when it comes to enablement, there's so much value there, and it's so fun. I think that's why I like the space and specifically Showpad.
Nice.
Yeah. So Showpad is not the only player in this space. So there's lots of competitors out there. So what do you think sets Showpad apart from all of the other players?
Yeah, there is some very good competitors out there. And I think that also speaks to how important this space is and how much it's growing. I mean, if you're in a space with no competitors, then it's probably not a very important space and it probably won't grow too quickly. So we like that there's a lot of competitors out there. I think the way Showpad thinks of this modern selling is what really sets us apart, and how we are touching all these different pieces of the organization with our platform and solving that specific problem. We don't, feature pitch at people. We don't, say, hey, this feature is great. We say, okay, here's the problem that a lot of people don't really know about. And Showpad's ahead of the game by solving for that before you even knew you had it. So I think being a little more innovative and ahead of the market on the way it is and changing, I think kind of sets Showpad apart, and our platform speaks for itself when we show folks, in like an actual demo.
Yeah. And I think, we always talk about the SaaS space, right? But it's interesting. And I had this conversation, a few weeks ago with someone. People outside of the SaaS space also have to get enabled, right? And you see so many other companies come up in this space that maybe I haven't heard of or I came across once or twice, but we forget that this isn't just SaaS. This isn't just tech sales. Like everyone else, maybe
Andela. We're not SaaS.
Or you're in a B2C role, but you still need to get enabled because you're also selling something. Maybe you're not selling it to a business, but you're selling it to, an individual on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. A huge portion of Showpad's customers are in like manufacturing, pharma, med tech, field sales. That's Showpad. One of Showpad's big use cases is offline mobile enablement. So totally understand. And I have a region like in Southeastern US. So I work with a lot of folks like out of SaaS. So totally understand that. And yeah, those are usually companies that need them more educating on what enablement is and what it can be. But when the light bulb goes off throughout the evaluation process, it's pretty rewarding for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, I thought that was a great response to the competitor question, Shamus. I have to say, like, I haven't really thought of it that way of if you're in a competitive space, it's an important space. So I thought that was very well said. You could have easily said why you were better than everyone else, but you just showed why the space is so important, like how you guys differentiate yourself. So I thought that was awesome. But with that is a wrap for this latest episode of Pitch Please. So Shamus, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, this was a blast. I appreciate you having me on.
You have to bring a beer the next time you come on, okay?
Yeah, I know. We want to see the beer.
Yeah, I'll ship you guys a couple. I'll have one and we can all share in it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, everyone listening, and we'll see you back for another episode in a few weeks' time.
Thanks, everyone.